Hello there. Welcome to Lena's Lane. In this episode of Case Files, I'll be sharing with you the case of Clyde Kennard. So make sure you stay tuned for more. Clyde Kennard was born June 12, 1927 in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, into a farming family. Kennard was one of 5 children. His father passed away when he was 4 years old. Kennard spent his early years helping his mother, who later remarried, run the farm. Described as quiet and studious, at the age of 12, Kennard's family sent him to Chicago to live with his older sister Sarah, to attend school full-time. He graduated from Wendell Phillips High School. September 1945, Kennard enlisted in the U.S. Army, served 7 years as a paratrooper, which included stints in Germany and Korea, then was honorably discharged in 1952. He purchased a 20-acre chicken farm in Eatonville, Mississippi, for his mother and stepfather with the money he earned in the Army. Later, he was admitted into the University of Chicago, majoring in political science, which he was described as getting terrific grades, also taught Sunday school, and was not known to drink or smoke. In 1955, after completing his junior year at the University of Chicago, Kennard's stepfather became disabled, causing him to drop out and return home to Hattiesburg, Mississippi to help his elderly mother with the farm. While teaching Sunday school at Mary Magdalene Baptist Church in Eatonville. While back in Eatonville, Kennard joined the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, better known as the NAACP. He became active in attempting to desegregate local schools. There were no black colleges nearby, so he decided to attempt to enroll in Mississippi Southern College, despite it being an all-white college. Kennard called the college and requested a course catalog. He didn't mention his race and received the catalog in the mail. After submitting his application, Kennard's application was rejected, being that he was unable to meet the college's requirement of 5 recommendations from graduates living in his county. He applied again in 1958, this time with the support of Medgar Evers, then field secretary for the Mississippi NAACP. During this time, the Mississippi Sovereign Commission, investigator Zach J. Van Landingham, investigated Kennard and called him a race agitator. The school's president, William McCain, and the governor of Mississippi, J.P. Coleman, used black leaders to try to dissuade Kennard from enrolling at an all-white college, convincing him that the time was not right for integrating the college. Therefore, Kennard withdrew his application. Kennard wrote a number of letters to the editor of the Hattiesburg American while he was attempting to enroll. December 6, 1958, he published a letter announcing his plan to apply to Mississippi Southern College in January of the following year. Making his case for integration public, Kennard questioned the logic of the separate but equal approach, argued that merit be used as a measuring stick rather than race. We believe that for men to work together best, they must be trained together in their youth. We believe that there is more to going to school than listening to the teacher in reciting lessons. In school, one learns to appreciate and respect the abilities of the other. In September 1959, Kennard decided to apply a third time. On his way to submit his application, he stopped at a local diner where Raylani Branch worked as a waitress. Branch would be one of two women who desegregated the college in 1965. But on this day in 1959, however, Branch remembers customers in the diner trying to convince Kennard to either not go to the school or at least don't go alone. He refused their advice. Leaving the meeting, Kennard was met outside by two policemen who accused him of speeding and possessing 4 half-pint bottles of moonshine. Despite the lack of evidence, Kennard, who didn't drink, was convicted of the charges and fined $600. Kennard would continue his efforts to enroll at Mississippi Southern College. In another letter to the editor, he tried to reassure his white neighbors, "We have no desire for revenge in our hearts. What we want is to be respected as men and women, given an opportunity to compete with you in the great and interesting race of life. We want your friends to be our friends. We want your enemies to be our enemies. We want your hopes and ambitions to be our hopes and our ambitions, and your joys and sorrows to be our joys and sorrows." After his third and final attempt to enter the college in 1960, and after the frivolous arrest charges, he wrote to the editor that he had, and I quote, "done all that is within my power to follow a reasonable course in this matter. I have tried to make it clear that my love for the state of Mississippi and my hope for its peaceful prosperity is equal to any man's alive. The thought of presenting this request before a federal court for consideration, with all the publicity and misrepresentation which that would bring about, makes my heart heavy. Yet, what other course can I take?" In September 1960, 9 months after this last letter, Kennard was framed for masterminding a heist of $25 worth of chicken feed. He was indicted on November 14, 1960, on charges of burglary. He pled not guilty at his arraignment on November 17th and went to trial 4 days later, Monday, November 21st. A jury of only white men were selected. Judge Staten Hall rejected the defense objection that African Americans were excluded from the jury. That same day, the jury convicted Kennard after deliberating just 10 minutes. Judge Hall sentenced him to the maximum term of 7 years in prison, 1 year for each $3.50 of feed. He was forced to pick cotton from sunup to sundown at Parchman Penitentiary, located 200 miles north of Hattiesburg. In April 1961, the Mississippi Supreme Court affirmed Kennard's burglary conviction. Kennard tried to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, represented by Thurgood Marshall, in one of his last cases as chief counsel for the NAACP before being sworn in as a federal judge. In October 1961, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear the case. Kennard made another bid to overturn his conviction based on a ruling in federal court that the Forrest County Circuit Clerk, Theron Lynn, had discriminated against black people in their efforts to register as voters. At the time, only male voters were allowed to sit on Mississippi juries. On January 14, 1963, the Mississippi Supreme Court rejected that bid for a new trial. By then, cancer was spreading throughout Kennard. Prison health officials misdiagnosed him as suffering from sickle cell anemia, and he continued to be sent out to work in the cotton fields at the Mississippi State Penitentiary. His condition worsened, and on January 24, 1963, he was transferred to a hospital in Jackson, Mississippi. He was released from prison on January 29, 1963, after supporters petitioned for clemency. Mississippi Governor Ross Barnett suspended his sentence because Kennard was suffering from cancer. After being released, Kennard went to Chicago with his sister Sarah for treatment and surgery. Just months after being released from prison, on July 4, 1963, Clyde Kennard passed away of colon cancer. He was only 36 years old. The day he passed would have been the anniversary of the document that promised all men are created equal. And on May 17, 2006, a judge tossed out Kennard's conviction, finally clearing his name for good. A poem Kennard wrote on April 16, 1962, he titled Ode to the Death Angel. That was the case of Clyde Kennard. Down in the comment section, let me know whether or not you heard of this case. What were your thoughts? Let's talk about it. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.